Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the Finance 360-degree sessions in which we cover all the relevant and important finance current affairs and the RBI notifications which are important from your exam point of view. So I hope you can see me clearly. So today we are going to discuss the RBI website and the finance current affairs. I'm going to take your queries regarding this RBI website and the finance current affairs that is relevant from your exam perspective. So for the RBI Grade B, the RBI website and the finance current affairs are very important. I am going to show you that how important it is. Okay, so let's start with it and let's see that how many of you have your queries regarding the RBI website and the finance current affairs. Now, as your exams are near, the SEBI is expected to come soon. Okay, the brief notification has come out, and the RBI is also expected to come soon. Okay, so the finance current affairs and the RBI website, it becomes very important. So today we are going to have the complete clarity that how to cover the RBI website, how to cover the finance current affairs. Okay, so good morning Bhavna, good morning Saurish, good morning Ankita. Good morning to all of you. Okay, so good to see all of you here. So start your queries, and till then let's discuss the RBI website, that how important the RBI website and finance current affairs is. So this is from your RBI Grade B 2023 examination. You can see that in the phase 1, I will show you that these are the questions that were asked. So directly from the RBI website, the Antardrishti dashboard that were discussed so much at that time, that came the payments vision document. The question came from this. This was also in the RBI website. This was also discussed in the annual report. The survey of professional forecasters. So every 2 months there is the consumer expectation survey that is released, there is the inflation expectation survey that is released, and there is the survey of professional forecasters that is also released. So we had discussed this, and the question came from this also in the previous year paper. The question, you can see so many of the questions came in the phase 1 from the finance current affairs from the RBI website in the RBI Grade B. And you can see from the annual report, from the financial stability report, there were various questions. I have just brought some of the examples for you, but there were various questions that came from the annual report and the financial stability report of the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, as well as there you can see that in the finance current affairs, in the RBI Grade B examination, there was also the question from the IRDAI, also the question that were from the SEBI, that the recent task or recent circular that is released by the SEBI. So you can understand that you have to cover the finance current affairs holistically from the other regulators point of view also, but just the basic idea you require. Like, this is a very important topic that you can understand, that the question was asked from a very common and very important topic that is not only relevant from the insurance perspective, but from the perspective of the whole of the country. Okay, so this is the questions, like this from the SEBI also there were 2 questions. So you can understand that you have to cover the news articles for the RBI examination, for the SEBI examination also, for the general awareness part for the phase 1, you have to cover the current affairs from the RBI, from the SEBI, and from the other regulators also, because the questions can come if they have brought something that is relevant for the whole of the economy. Okay, and not only from the phase 1 perspective that the questions are coming from the RBI website and the finance current affairs, the RBI website and the finance current affairs have also become very, very, very important for the phase 2 of the RBI Grade B examination. Here you can see that a direct question came from the ONDC that was in news at that time, and the other question came from the pre-sanctioned credit line that was in the RBI website. Okay, here you can see that ONDC, we had just covered the ONDC just before the examination, and the direct question came from the ONDC, as well as the pre-sanctioned credit line. This news was in April 2023. Okay, this news, this article was in RBI website in April 2023 under the statement on developmental and regulatory policies, and this was in news also. Okay, so just before the examination, just before the phase 2 of the RBI Grade B, there were topics that were circulating in the RBI website in the finance current affairs, and that topics, they came in the descriptive answer writing. So you can understand that how important the finance current affairs, how important the RBI website has become from the exam perspective. Now, let me take some of your queries that list out the surveys and publications that are released by RBI. So let me show you the RBI website first of all. So this is the RBI website. Okay, whenever you go to the RBI website, like you just have to type. Let me show you that how, first of all, for the new students, how you have to go to the RBI website. So this is how you can go to the RBI website. Just type the RBI website, click on this RBI, you will go to the home page of RBI. Okay, so this is the home page of RBI. This is the home of RBI. Here, what's new, it's written. Okay, so whatever new things have come up, major things have come up is here. But it's not like that you only have to cover this. No, there is also the notifications. Notifications are very important from the exam point of view. Press releases are also very important from the exam point of view. Do you have to cover all the press releases? Do you have to cover all the notifications? No. Only the important notifications and press releases you have to do. Now, I have got a question from Bhavna that list out the important surveys and publication. So let's go to publications. In the publication, you have the segregation. First, going to the annual publication. So in the annual publication, always the annual report and the report on trend and progress of banking in India. This is important. So the recent, see, this is the annual publication. So let me just have a blank slide. So here in the publications, you can see there is the annual publication. Okay, the annual publication. Now the annual publication, the annual report is very important, and the report on trend and progress of banking in India. This is also very important. Because why this is important? Because in the previous year, in the 2022 examination, 2021 examination, there was a direct question in the descriptive answer writing that came from the report on trend and banking in India. Okay, and the questions also come in the objective part of the examination, not only in the descriptive. From the annual report, I have just shown you, that there were various questions that came from the annual report. In the 2021 or 2022, there was also a question from the annual report regarding the LTRO in the descriptive part of the examination. So the reports that the RBI is releasing, the publications that the RBI is releasing is important from the objective part, is important from the descriptive part of the RBI Grade B. Okay. So this is what you have to cover. Now, do you have to cover the annual, like this is the report on trend and progress that is released in December 2023. That means the next one will be released on December 2024. So yes, this is the report. This is the recent publication that you have to cover. Okay, if you wait for the 2024 one, then that will be after the examination of the RBI Grade B. But now, as this report has released so much prior to the examination, that if the exam happens in June, July, August, this report is not very much relevant as it is not released near to the examination. But as it is an annual publication of RBI, that means it becomes important. So the report is important because it is the annual publication of RBI, but it is not near to the examination. So just have the brief idea about this report. You do not have to go too much in depth. Okay. Next is annual report. So do you have to cover the annual report? It was released in May. So May 2023, that means it will be released in May 2024. Even if the examination happens in June, this will be the most recent report that will be relevant from the exam point of view. So for now, I will suggest you that do not cover the annual report of the RBI. Wait near to the examination, just a month before the examination or just 15-20 days before the examination, cover the annual report, the new one, or if till then the new one is not released, then you can cover the previous report. But I guess that the new report will be released. Half yearly, these are the half yearly reports. In this, the most important one is, in this half yearly reports, the most important one is the financial stability report. We have seen that in the previous year, the financial stability report, the questions came from this. Now the financial stability report was released in December. Now the next one will be released in June. So we can wait for the recent one. If the exam happens in July, then the June one will be important. If not, then the December one will be important. Okay. Other than this, half-yearly publication, the financial stability report is the most important. You can have the brief idea of the monetary policy report and the report on foreign exchange reserves, but the most important is financial stability report. Quarterly report, so you can see these are the quarterly report. In this, the survey on professional forecasters is important, consumer confidence survey and inflation expectation survey of households. These are a little important, okay? So they are quarterly released. Bi-monthly is the monetary policy. The monetary policy committee releases the monetary policy committee. It releases its statement bi-monthly, so that statement is important. Okay, it is not a publication, but it is a statement. So in the quarterly one, the survey on professional forecasters, the consumer confidence survey, inflation expectation survey, these are important. That is also released like bi-monthly. These are the surveys. So this is it that you have to do from the publications part. Now coming to the next, SRO framework. Do not worry, SRO framework has been released recently only. So we will cover it in the next session. So for priority, we will be covering this amendment to the master direction. Okay, this in the next session on Tuesday, I'm going to cover this amendment to the master direction, and after that we will cover the framework for the SROs because it is recently released. Okay. Ma'am, I haven't completed finance static portion yet. If I focus more on current affairs or finance, will it suffice the preparation? So I will suggest you that have your preparation simultaneously. Like continue doing the finance static because it is important. Even in the previous year, 50% or 60% of the static came, and the like 50% of the static came and 50% of the current affairs came, we can say, in the finance part. Okay, but still the finance static is very much important because many of the topics you cannot understand if you do not have the understanding of the finance static. With this you can cover your finance current affairs. Even if you are working, put 2 hours to finance static and 1 hour to finance current affairs. Try to cover the finance static in the in a fast manner. Okay, so try to cover the finance static holistically, but in a fast manner. Try to put in more hours, or you can have more productivity. Just study it in the morning, maybe when you have more productivity. Okay, when you can cover more of the topics. Ma'am, should we frame answer writing questions by our own self from your finance current affair video for practice? First of all, I will suggest you, whenever anyone asks that okay, I have not covered my finance static, I have not covered my ASI static, I have not covered my management also, and I have not even started with the current affairs, but I want to do the descriptive answer writing practice. How you are going to write an answer when you do not have the material? First, prepare the fodder material for yourself. So when you are going to the finance current affairs, that is fine. That okay, you have seen the video on the UPI, interlinkage with the Nepal, NPI. Now you want to write a answer on digital payment infrastructure and the development that has happened in the digital payment infrastructure. Just with the news article, that is UPI linkage with the Nepal's NPI, can you make a whole answer of 400 or 600 words? No, you need the fodder material. That is, you need, whenever you are reading the newspapers, you have understood about, okay, UPI interlinkage has happened with the Mauritius, in the Mauritius, UPI will be adopted, or in Bhutan, UPI will be adopted, or in France, there is the Eiffel Tower that has started utilizing the UPI, and UPI, the transactions that are happening through UPI, that has increased the transaction. There is the progress on NEFT and RTGS. This article has been released by the Reserve Bank of India recently. Let me show you the press release. So here, so the progress of NEFT and RTGS, we have discussed this. So you have to first collect the material. Let me tell you, going out of the box, but if you want to write an answer on agriculture, the development of agriculture, or the development, the reduction of poverty that is happening in our country, you have to cover it through the scheme. First cover the schemes, cover the reports, cover the budget, the economic survey, the union budget and economic survey, cover the ESI current affairs. Then you will have enough of the material to write 600 words, to write 1000 of the words. So you can understand that first you have to collect the material. Do not just jump into writing. First collect the material, because if you jump into writing, what will happen that you will not be able to write. As easy as that. You will not have much of the material, you will not have the data points, you will not have the codes to write an answer. Then you will just feel bad that okay, you are not able to write, I'm not able to write a good answer, will I be able to clear this examination? Why go into that mindset? First collect the material, right? So first step is to always collect the material. In the finance current affairs also, just seeing a session and start writing any of the answer regarding that session, regarding the digital payment infrastructure or internationalization of the rupee. First collect more and more material and just segregate. Make your like short notes. I can say that agriculture, poverty, unemployment, sustainable development, digital infrastructure, digital payments, the internationalization of rupee. So like this, segregate your notes, at least have 10 to 15 points, because if you have 10 to 15 data points or 10 to 15 good points from any scheme, from any report, then you will be able to remember 5 to 7 points in the examination. So have this short notes with yourself. See, whatever reports have been released till now of the Reserve Bank of India, try to cover it briefly. Like the Panchayati Raj report, I have taken a complete session. I have taken actually 2 sessions on Panchayati Raj report. Even if you cover that report and just see what are the points in the newspaper, you will see that everything is covered. So from the session you can cover it. Ma'am, will it enough to read PDFs of the Finance 360 sessions for Finance Current Affairs and not anything else? So Joseph, the idea is that the sessions happen thrice a week. Do you think that that is enough? So I will show you. Let me show you. So from the RBI website, when we are covering the notifications, first let's see the press releases. You can see that these are the number of the press releases that is released by the Reserve Bank of India. There are the number of notifications that is released by the Reserve Bank of India. Finance current affairs, I have to search through the newspapers. So yes, I am trying to cover all the important press releases, notifications of RBI, the current affairs that are coming in the newspapers. But everything cannot be provided in just 3 videos that are of 30 minutes, 1 hour. Like if I stretch the video to 1 hour, students, they start like not liking the session, because they do not want a lengthy session. It is understandable, because in the limited time they want to continue their preparation. But you have to understand that in the 3 hours in a week, the current affairs cannot be finished. Okay, but I am trying to cover the important and the typical one. Like in the next session, you are going to get this amendment to the master direction. On Tuesday, I am going to cover this complete amendment. You can see that how lengthy it is, and this is just a part. You like under this amendment, there is also this complete master direction that has to be covered. So this will be covered in your Tuesday session. So you can understand that the typical ones, the difficult ones, I am trying to cover those in the sessions. The small ones, you have to cover it yourself. Like in the notification, let me show you. In the notification, there is the review of guidelines, withdrawal of circulars. Nothing is important. You can see it is not important. Just the RBI has withdrawn some of the circulars. Okay. Then money transfer service scheme. In this, there is nothing much. You have to understand the basic idea of money transfer service scheme. So I will see that if I bring a session on this. But there is the basic, like if you read this, you will be able to understand. So this is a very small topic. Arrangements, this we have done. Amendment, this we will do in the next session. This is not important. Weapons of mass destruction or unlawful activities, these type of notifications are not important. Now reporting and accounting of central government transactions for March 2024. You can read this. First of all, this is monthly, so this becomes not very important, and if you just read it, you will be able to understand. So these small kind of topics are usually left out because there is so much to cover. And you can understand that the big news articles, the difficult news articles are going to be covered in the finance current affairs, in the finance section of the notification, in the finance 360. So I'm trying to cover up the important ones and the typical ones, okay, that are coming in the news article. And if you see, most of the questions in the previous year were covered through the sessions itself, because I'm trying to cover the important and the typical ones, and from those only the RBI usually make the questions. Okay, so it is not enough But yes, if you do it, you will be in a much better position, because I have shown you that the sessions I have taken on the ONDC, from that directly you can see you could have given the 400 words easily. Like this is just one slide, and in this one slide there are nearly 100 words, and there was such ONDC was discussed in depth. Then coming to the pre-sanctioned credit line, the pre-sanctioned credit line was covered very in depth in the session. So you can understand that for the descriptive answer writing, for your objective, the sessions are important, but you have to substantiate your knowledge. There is the RBI website that you can visit and see that what is covered, what is not covered. Like there is a request that has been made by a student to cover this notification. Yes, this notification is very important and I am going to cover it. That is a fact. You can see how lengthy it is. So I'm going to cover it in a short video, okay, so that everything is covered that is important from the exam point of view. Next is, ma'am, okay, finance static ho gaya. Should we frame answer writing? I have told you, for the answer writing, just collect the fodder material, then write your answers. Ma'am, please revise the concept of complaint conversion ratio in the recent ombudsman report. Yes, Vrishali. So complaint conversion ratio. So the complaint conversion ratio from the ombudsman's point of view is the complaints that are going to the ombudsman's out of the total complaints that are received by a bank. So the total complaints that are received by the small finance banks, out of these total complaints that are received by the small finance banks, many of the complaints are being covered by the small finance banks only. Only some of the complaints are going to the, only some of the complaints that are not being resolved by the small finance bank, or the complainant or the customer is not happy with the result, so those complaints are going to the ombudsman. So this is the complaint conversion ratio from the offices of RBI ombudsman point of view. So in the session I by mistake explained the complaint conversion ratio from the perspective of banks, that is the complaints that is received by a bank out of the total complaints received by the total number of banks. So that is from the banking perspective, that you do not have to understand. You actually have to understand the complaint conversion ratio from the point of view of the ombudsmans. Okay, so that is the offices of Reserve Bank of India ombudsmans. They are receiving the complaints out of the total complaints that are coming to the small finance banks, let's say, or any of the respective banking group. Okay, so to this banking group, there are the complaints that are going to the small finance banks, there are the complaints that are going, and now if the small finance banks are not able to resolve the complaints, or they are not resolving the complaints on time, then the complaint is going to the alternative grievance redressal mechanism of the Reserve Bank of India. That is, then the complaints are going to the offices of Reserve Bank of India ombudsman, because you need to remember that first the complaint has to be raised with the respective bank or respective bank group. So with the respective bank, you have to raise the request. With the respective NBFC, you have to raise the request. If they are not resolving your complaint, then you can go to RBI ombudsman offices. So the idea is total complaints that are going to a respective to a banking group. Out of those total complaints, how many of the complaints are going to the offices of the Reserve Bank of India ombudsman? So that is the complaint conversion ratio. Complaints going to the offices of Reserve Bank of India ombudsman out of the total complaints of a respective banking group. Okay. Okay. Yes, lower CRR is ideal because most of the complaints should be covered, should be resolved by the bank itself. And lower of the complaints should go to the offices of Reserve Bank of India ombudsman. That why they are not able to resolve the complaints otherwise, right? Okay, so coming to the SEBI, we have discussed much about the RBI. Coming to the SEBI, see, I have analyzed the paper of SEBI. Let me just reiterate the questions that have come in the, just a second, okay? Yes, so in the SEBI phase 1, paper 1, there is a GA section in which 20 questions come. Okay, so as per the previous pattern, this is the pattern that in the phase 1, paper 1, there is the 20 questions that come in G. Out of these questions, I have seen that economic survey, from economic survey there was a question, from union budget there were 2 questions, from the sports there was questions, from the awards there was question, from the index, from a particular index, was like India rank was asked from a particular index. There was a question from campaign of a particular bank. Okay, and there was only one question that I was able to find. So there was only one question that was from the SEBI website, that was on the alerts. So the full form of alerts was asked, or the R, or like a particular like what is the L, that like what is the full form, that was asked. So you can understand that for the SEBI you have to just be aware, just keep on like going through the union budget or the economic survey. They are important, but just have the brief idea. Too much of going into the general awareness is not required for the SEBI. Just have 3 to 4 months of the general awareness prepared. You can see that from how wide the SEBI is asking the questions. Okay, maybe they will shift to finance current affairs more. Maybe they will shift to the SEBI related news more. But in the previous year, there was only one question that came from the SEBI circular, and that was also a very easy question. Okay. मैम पंचायती राज रिपोर्ट हो गया. मैम प्लीज रिवाइज द कॉन्सेप्ट हो गया. ऑल्सो जस्ट टू बी क्लियर, yes. Why RBI do not give license to NBFCs? RBI do give license to NBFCs. RBI regulates the NBFCs, right? Is RBI required? Fine, sorry, just a sec. So I'm getting a question, that is finance 360 required for phase 1 RBI grade B? It is required. I have shown you that these questions, they came from they came in the phase 1 of the RBI grade B. These questions came in the phase 1 of the RBI grade B. These are the questions that came in the phase 1 of the RBI grade B. Okay, as well as these are the questions. These are the finance current affairs question, and this is the RBI website question that came in the phase 2 of the RBI grade B. So you can see that the sessions are important from the phase 1 of the RBI grade B point of view, as well as from the phase 2 of the RBI grade B point of view. Okay, so the sessions, you are getting the information of the finance current affairs, and in the sessions you are getting the information of the RBI website. So these sessions are important from phase 1 as well as from the phase 2 perspective. Okay. Okay, let me see more queries. Ma'am, for phase 2, will it be sufficient to watch videos on the course of finance to tackle the static part? Yes, if you have the course, whichever course it is, I am thinking that they are making the whole subject matter very clear and very precise, as well as they are providing everything that is required from the exam point of view. Okay, so 100% no institute can provide, I can say this, but at least 99%, 98% the institute must be providing if you have the course. Kasturi, like there is a session on budget taken by Gurkira sir. He is a faculty for current affairs. He is the lead faculty for current affairs. So he is the one that is taking the budget and the survey. Okay, so you can see the session that he has brought. It is a very good session. Ma'am, for most of the important circulars, there are a lot of applicability criteria. Okay, true. Any trick to remember them easily? So yes, and now why the applicability is important? So let me show you first that in the RBI grade B 2023 examination, directly the applicability was asked, that which of the guidelines is not applicable on which of the following entities. So anyone that has this idea that okay, I do not have to do the applicability, that is absolutely wrong. They have to remember, you have to remember the applicability. Now what is the trick to remember the applicability? What is the trick to remember the applicability? So the basic trick is that like the recent, okay, you have not covered it, but in this, let me show you. If we go to the RBI website, see, this is the amendment to the master direction that has happened to the credit card and debit card. Remember that the credit cards, they are issued by the banks and the NBFCs. That's why the whole guidelines are applicable on the banks and the NBFCs. Debit cards, the debit cards, they are issued by the banks in India. So that's why on the debit cards only, for the debit cards only the notification is applied for every bank. So applicability is nothing else. It is like the loans. The loan regarding applicability. This will not be applicable, or the credit card regarding applicability. This will not be applicable to the payments bank, or the deposit regarding applicability, that is taking the deposit in crores. So those guidelines will not be applicable on the payment bank, because the payment bank has the restriction of taking the deposits. So you have to remember that this notification regarding the credit card is being provided by which banks, or the debit card is being provided by which institutions. So through this you can get the trick of remembering the applicability. Okay, that okay, credit cards, it can be issued by the NBFCs, it can be issued by the banks. That's why the credit cards are issued by banks or NBFCs. But the debit card is only issued by the banks. Why a debit card is only issued by a bank only? Why not NBFCs? Why not NBFCs? Because the NBFCs cannot take the demand deposit. How you know that the NBFCs cannot take demand deposit? You must have covered the finance static, in which it is clearly mentioned that the NBFCs, they can take the term deposit, but they cannot take the demand deposit. If they cannot take the demand deposit, they cannot issue the debit card, because debit card means what? That you have your savings account in which you are keeping your money. That is a demand deposit. That is a demand deposit. Whenever you want, you can take out the money. So that is the idea, na? That debit card means that you have a savings account in which you have kept your demand deposits. Whenever you want the money, you want to purchase anything, you want to purchase a cup, you want to purchase a pen, you are just taking out the money, you are just swiping your debit card, you are taking out the money from your savings account that you have deposited. So these are demand deposits. Whenever you want demand, you can take out your deposits. So debit cards, they are linked with your savings account, they are linked with your demand deposits. Now the NBFCs, if they cannot take the demand deposits, they cannot issue the debit card. As easy as that. That's why that is the trick, how to remember the applicability. You just have to match it with your finance static information, that okay, the credit cards, they can be issued by banks and NBFCs, because NBFCs are also giving loans, banks are also giving loans, so credit card can be issued by both of them. But debit card shall apply to every bank operating in India. Only bank is mentioned, because the NBFCs, they cannot give the debit cards on the savings account. They do not have the savings account. Okay. मैम आप सारे आरबीआई या फाइनेंस न्यूज़ कवर करवा दीजिए, आपका बहुत अच्छा समझ आता है. थैंक यू पीहू, थैंक यू सो मच. बट आई ऑल्सो हैव द टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट. Okay, as well as there are other classes also that is going on. SEBI ki abhi live classes will start, so I have to take those classes also. So yes, we have the time constraint, but I'm trying to bring out as much of the sessions as I can regarding the important and the relevant notifications. Okay. Okay, for RBI Grade B, how many months of the J is sufficient? So now for general awareness, Gurkirat sir is the better person. But from my perspective, let me tell you that the schemes, you have to do schemes at least for 6 months, 5 to 6 months, at least for 6 months, because this is important from the phase 2 perspective also, from the descriptive perspective, from the objective perspective. The schemes also come in the GA part of the phase 1. Now coming to the reports, again reports also, I will suggest that do the 5 to 6 months. Okay, because they are important from the phase 1 perspective, from the phase 2 perspective. Now coming to current affairs. In the current affairs, you can understand that there is normal GA, in which sports, awards, defense, meetings or such kind of things, they are included. Then there is the general awareness plus ESI. That is the ESI current affairs, where your agriculture related news, poverty related news is coming, your GDP related news is coming, your export related news is coming. Then you have the GA plus finance, that is the finance current affairs. Okay. So GA, the sports, awards, defense practices that is happening, as well as the minor things that are happening, like the events, sports events, and what comes in your GA also. So this is the minor things, that sports, awards, defense, they do not come in the phase 2. They only come in the phase 1 till now. They majorly come in the phase 1, they do not come in the phase 2. Okay, sports news, awards news, defense news and such. So this defense means the defense exercises that happens between the countries. So this, even if you do for 3-4 months just to clear the phase 1, that is also enough. 3 months. Okay, ESI current affairs, again 5 to 6 months, because in this you are getting much of the data regarding your descriptive answer writing. From this you can collect the data. In the ESI current affairs, your union budget, economic survey, and any of the extra report, like extra documents like the foreign trade policy, that was also in news. So the regional economic cooperation, the international economic institutions, the regional economic cooperation news, like the G20 has accepted African Union. So these kind of news, they come under the ESI current affairs. Okay, that is related to your social development, social sector, the inequality and such, like the indexes that are being released. Finance news, finance current affairs, you know that the finance current affairs, I have shown you that the finance current affairs, how important it is. So have the basic idea of the finance current affairs. Do not deep dive into the finance current affairs that I am talking about, like there is a new bond that has been released by SEBI. I will just have the PhD on that bond. No, have the basic idea. This is released, why this is released, what is the meaning of this bond, that's it. You do not have to deep dive. Okay, so this is it. Sorry, Amrit, what query you have? Can you rewrite? Ma'am, earlier you said that merger of banks or RBI taking any action, penalty or financial institution. Acha, okay. Yes, let me tell you. I actually wanted to tell you this. Very good, Amrit, to draw my attention towards this. So see, okay, so see what happens, that usually it is said. Let me show you the RBI website also. Let's just see the RBI website. So usually I say that, yes. So here you can see, that monetary penalty, monetary penalty, monetary penalty, monetary penalty, and monetary penalty, monetary penalty. So if you see for a month only, there are lots of monetary penalties that the Reserve Bank of India is imposing on different banks, different NBFCs. Can you remember so many of the banks? Can you remember so many of the NBFCs? No, that is not at all doable. So why to tell you to remember all of this? So that's why we tell you to not remember these, like you have to leave these kind of monetary penalties and such, because they are every day RBI is imposing the monetary penalties on 4 to 5 banks or NBFCs. So you cannot remember all of that. Now why we have covered? We have covered this, RBI has approved the amalgamation. We have covered this, that action is taken against the IIFL finance. Why we have covered this? Because if you see, if you copy paste this, this is covered by major newspapers, like the Business Line has covered this, Indian Express has covered this, India Today, as well as when I was searching it, so Live Mint has covered it. So these are covered because whenever I'm the one that is putting the links in the document, for the document. So I saw that, okay, this news is covered in many of the newspapers. So when it is again and again covered in many of the newspapers, then it becomes important. As well as this is a new thing that has happened by the RBI, that there is an action that has been taken by RBI for a particular, like there is no monetary penalty. There is no monetary penalty by the RBI, but there is some particular action that has been taken by the RBI in regards to gold loans particularly. And when we talk about mergers, yes, you do not have to read all the mergers, but if the merger are coming in the RBI website directly and they are also in news, again I searched this in the newspapers. Now this news was also covered by Hindu Business Line, you can see, and the Business Today, the Hindu, Times of India, Business Standard. You can understand that how many of the important newspapers have covered this news. So this becomes important. So that is the idea, that we are not just providing you anything, but we are doing proper research that this should be provided or not. Okay. And this also has been covered in your finance current affairs. Actually, so many of the queries are coming now that, I mean, this type of news are being covered in this month PDF. So I'm confused, as you said. Yes, you have to skip the monetary penalties and like if the mergers are happening that are not very big mergers, usually the bank mergers do not happen. So that is important. The mergers are important, but the monetary penalties are not important. So I must have said it about the monetary penalties that is happening. So monetary penalties you do not have to remember, or the penalties that the RBI is imposing, or the restrictions, like if the RBI is imposing the restrictions that are not very important, that is on the normal doings. Okay, but if it is in news, then you have to cover it. Okay, ma'am, how to revise previous class? So vast syllabus and time is limited. So for the revision, after every five sessions, we are bringing for you, after every 5 sessions, we are bringing for you the revision session, so that through this you can revise, okay, through the MCQs. Ma'am, source of finance static part. Finance static, that I cannot provide you. For finance static, you can see the, for the finance static, you can see the source given by Anchi sir. Okay, so Anchi sir must have a video, so you can cover the source. Now I will be taking queries for 5 more minutes because this session has stressed a lot. Ma'am, please also make videos on how to understand topics GA plus finance. See, usually I cover the GA plus finance topics and GA plus finance topics and the RBI notifications in the finance 360 only. And remember that GA plus finance, that is finance current affairs, you only have to cover the basic points. Do not go in depth. Okay. I will not say anything on the exam date because I'm not sure. So why to give you false information? Ma'am, okay. Can we do SEBI and RBI together? Now this depends on your knowledge, how much of the preparation you have put in the previous years. Like if you have all the basic idea of, like you have completely covered the SEBI uh, topics in the previous year, you are very strong in the static part of commerce, accounts, economics, finance, management, company law, then maybe you can. But it depends on your previous preparation. It depends on how much of the time you can put right now. Okay. If we just see YouTube sessions and read monthly PDF, is it sufficient for current affairs? Yes, if you have the course, in the course you are provided with the current tab, you are provided with schemes tab, you are provided with reports tab to cover the reports, to cover the schemes, you are provided with the RBI news tab that is covering the RBI website. So yes, that is enough with the finance sessions that you can see in the YouTube. Okay, to understand the difficult finance current affairs. Diksha ma'am is taking any live session like you have taken. I have some queries regarding schemes. I will ask this Diksha ma'am and I will comment to you in the comment section below. Okay. CAT and RBI, now again it depends on your preparation level. In the RBI you require in-depth knowledge of the schemes, reports, finance current affairs. So can you manage it? If you can manage it, if you have the previous preparation, you can. Okay, if you have covered the finance syllabus, the finance statics syllabus, if you have covered the management statics syllabus, maybe you can. Okay, in the marathon sessions, Sorish. So in the marathon sessions, when I do marathon sessions, or when I do the live sessions for the paid courses, then we cover all the topics that are covered in the RBI News tab. So yes, in the marathon sessions, yes, in the live sessions, in the paid course, all the topics will be covered from your RBI News tab that is provided to you, the document that is provided to you for the RBI website. The small topics, I cannot bring it on the full-fledged sessions, but those topics will be covered in your marathon sessions. Quiz lecture. Now PK has asked about the quiz lecture for Jan and Feb. See, what you have to do is, okay, I will take last of the queries, last 2-3 queries I will take. I have to close the session now. So what you can do is go to the finance 360 EduTap, and this is the whole playlist that is provided to you. So in this playlist you can see, that for March, after every 5 session, like before every 5 session, February, there is the revision session that has happened. For Again, for February, there were 2 revision sessions. For January also, there were 3 revision sessions for January. So you have to go to the Finance 360 series. You have to go to the Finance 360-degree series and you can see the revision sessions. How much important is finance static part? In the previous, like 2021, 2022, finance static was 80%, finance current affairs was 20%, or 70-30%. 70% was finance static, 30% was finance current affairs, we can say. But in the previous 2023 examination, we have seen 50-50. That 50% is finance static, 50% is finance current affairs. So that is the percentage that you can understand. QRE, CAT, Vishnu sir is making different videos. He is making wonderful videos. So he will be the one that can tell you more about the QRE, not me. Ma'am, where can I get complete summary sheet for finance or a single book of finance? Again, like for the finance static, Anchit sir is the one that is making the videos, that is telling you the books and such. He will be the wonderful person to tell you about the finance static. QRE, Vishnu sir or Narvi sir would be the wonderful people to tell you about the QRE section. I'm here for current affairs, specifically for the RBI website and the finance current affairs. So this is it. I hope your queries are finished now. So this was a one-time thing. I wanted to connect with you because the examination is near and I know that many of you would be worried about the examination. So do not worry. You have the months to prepare. You have the days to prepare. Instead of worrying, put your time in your preparation. Okay. Finance numericals for RBI, that you have to see the previous year questions. The previous year questions are provided. Now there is a guidebook. The guidebook is provided to you. EduTap is providing to you the RBI, NABARD and SEBI guidebook. With these guidebooks, you are getting the previous year questions also. So you can go through the previous year questions. Okay. How to remember the data part? You have to make your short notes for the data part. If you have any of the magazines of any of the courses of any of the institute, just write the data points inside that. Okay, the GVA, the share of agriculture in GVA is 18.3%. In the union budget previous, I remember that 47% of the workforce is dependent on agriculture. So these short notes you can make in the side of your magazine. Okay. Aditya, are summary sheets summary sheets enough to clear the exam, or we have to go through concept notes thoroughly? What I can suggest you is, see the index of the notes, see the index of the summary sheet, see that what parts are missing from the notes. So that parts completed in summary sheet. So you will have to go through the summary sheet as well as you are not leaving anything, because whatever extra is provided to you in the concept notes, those extra points you can just read from the concept notes. So compare the index of summary sheet and the concept notes. Whatever extra points are in the concept notes, just copy paste it, just write the important points in the summary sheet. So in this way you are also covering the complete of the concept notes with your summary sheet. For finance descriptive, ma'am, EduTap current affairs is enough for finance descriptive paper? Yes, it is. Okay, if current affairs are being provided to you for ESI current affairs, the finance current affairs are there. The not only finance current affairs, you have to cover the RBI website also. For the, I have shown you now that from the RBI website there was a question that was asked. So this is from the RBI website. This is from the RBI website, from the RBI press release. So this is it. Monthly revision session. Actually, right now I'm bringing the part 1 and part 2. So that is a kind of, after every 5 sessions, I'm taking the revision session. Okay. Monthly sessions also we can bring, but it is, for now, I think it will be too much time taking. Thank you, ma'am, for this lovely session. Thank you so much for your way of teaching, making complex things. You are most welcome, Amrit, and thank you so much for your wonderful comment. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for your wonderful comment. It really, really means a lot. You're most welcome, Sorish. Thank you so much. So I will be ending the session now. It is a lengthy session. I hope you people like the session. So this is a one-time thing that I wanted to do for you, so that if you have any question, you should be able to share it. And if you still have more questions, you can write in the